Welcome to Amateur Redneck Workshop. I'm Harold. Every time I do a few projects, I always wind up with a few loose ends that need to be tied up. So today I'll tie up a few loose ends. Some things that didn't get investigated will be investigated. Some orders that were made that didn't come in will arrive. And in general, we'll just do things that were not totally completely done during the projects. You know, sometimes I leave a few a few ends loose. So, and well, without saying anything else, we're just going to get right on it. For the past 40 years, this lathe has had this switch on it, this reversing switch that had reverse, off, forward on it, but I had to have this switch here to turn the thing on and off. And so I got to looking at it the other day, and I thought, well, that's not wired right. Surely I should be able to run the whole thing off of that switch and not need this one right here. I thought, well, back when I was young and knew everything, I wired it wrong. At least that's what I thought. So I opened it up, and it needs new wires anyway. The insulation was cracking and falling off and stuff. But instead of going and looking at the papers, and I went in my drawer where I keep the manuals and such, you can see this stuff flaking off of the wires there. Anyway, I went out and dug out the old moldy sheets that came with the thing, and it says I can use that switch, that reversing switch, but the off position won't work. You have to use an extra switch to make it work. So really and truly, I had it wired right in the first place, and if I'd realized that, I would have paid more attention to which screws the wires were on, because now I got to trace each one of them as I put the new wires on to make sure I get them right. And you know, sometimes you should have left well enough alone, and you start piddling with it anyway. Well, there you go. But I guess it's good. It needed new wires anyway. They were getting old and brittle. But still, that'll probably not cause me any trouble. I'll probably just cause myself work because I should have left it alone. I suppose it's just as well I replaced the stuff, because the stuff is getting really brittle. The insulation's cracking all over. You can see it cracks and breaks open and falling apart. So it was time for me to make a mistake and meddle in things, I guess. And the wire, I've got it braided, and I'm going to cover it up with some stuff. I braided the wire together. That's one piece of it there. And there's actually two pieces that I braided together, two separate groups. And I figured that would hold things just right. So now I'm going to put some strain relief in the holes and tighten it down, see if I can't put a little covering over it, and I'll be back. So I'm throwing away all the old rusty washers that held the motor on, and I've got the wires neatly wrapped and coming up into their, you know, switch boxes. And I actually have these little strain relief things there, protectors on them, that weren't there for the past 40 years. So now all I have to do is put on the new belt, tighten the motor up, and we're through. And here's a case of expediency over thrift. Got this at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Ran 15 bucks out the door. If I'd waited for Walmart to deliver one to my local store, I could have got it for less than $7. But I wanted to do it today. That's just great. It's running in reverse. That's the reverse switch position, and it's running forward. Darn it. Now I've got to go and turn those wires around. Alright, I think the writing's visible there now. And where's the chuck? down here. Back up a little bit. Alright. Now we're going the right direction. Okay, that's a lot better. So there's another loose end tied up. Just in case you're thinking that old redneck's feeding me a load of baloney about the switch, pause your video and read that part right there about the on-off switch. That's right out of the motor manual that I bought so many years ago. If you watched my video on the plastic injector that I made, you'll know I screwed this onto the bottom of it for my mold to make a knob. Well, that didn't come out too good because ever since this has been stuck together I haven't been able to unscrew it. So obviously screwing it together is not the way to go. Pressing it together with a clamp or something, that's got to be the right way. But I didn't do it like that, so now I got to take this lathe and cut this little sucker off because I can't hold it with anything tight enough to turn it. It is solid, tight together. I expect I got plastic in the threads. So undoubtedly threads and plastic injection don't go together. We're going to cut it off. Easier to run the other direction. Getting loose in the chuck. I'm gonna do the rest of this off camera and I'll bring you back for a little look at it. Okay, so I've cut this thing till somewhere in the neighborhood of a ½ inch of the thread has come off in one little piece there, and it still hasn't let go, so I'm worried about it starting to wobble some here. So I'm going to have to tighten it back up there a little. You'd think it would come off at that rate. Let's see if this will have any effect on it. I mean, there's not much thread left now, so surely it'll. There, I think it's turning. It's unscrewing. Well, get over here, Harold, and quit being so stupid. Get on it. Alright, come on, let's go. There we go. You look at that. Plastic was in the threads. So, no plastic, hot plastic in threads, that don't work. I'll have to remake this little booger another way so that I just cap it on there instead of trying to do like I did. So I'm going to turn off the camera for a minute and ooh, it's hot, and let this thing cool down, and then we will see if I can get the plastic to come out of there and see if I made a knob, even if I couldn't get it out when I made it. If you look at that, I think you can see the pattern of the knobs through the plastic, and I'm going to cut down on that just a little bit and make it easier to see the pattern, and maybe easier to get it out of there. I don't know. We'll find out though. Well, it's not perfectly straight with everything, is it? It's hard to get that thing back in the chuck flat. Maybe we'll just pull a little bit of the aluminum with it. That brought a little metal with it, but definitely thinner. Ouch! That went right under my thumbnail. You can see the edges of the knob. We may have a real knob here and we just don't know it. I'm gonna shut off the camera and work on it a while, and I'll be right back. Okay, so there you go. I had successfully made a knob, and but I had not successfully made a mold because I couldn't get the knob out of the mold. So no more screwing the mold together. I'll make a clamp that'll clamp from you know, the outside to squeeze it together, and the next time around I should be able to pop them out like a production line. Ever optimistic, huh? Alright, so there's another loose end tied up. There's the busted taillight. I didn't think about making a video until I had it already done. But here's the hole where the tree assaulted me. All you got to do is there's a bolt on the top and the bottom. Drop the tailgate, pull the two bolts. You've got these little things here. They're, you know, sort of a catch, and you just have to pull like the devil and then it'll pop off. And then I took the little bulb holders and the bulbs out of here just in case I break one in the future. The new light came with bulbs in it, but as you can see, there's not much to replacing the tail light. I think most of them are this way. I replaced one on my brother's Chevy Equinox or something. It was the same kind of deal. Pulled a couple of screws and yanked the little fingers out of the retainers. So probably $100 labor to the dealer. At least I got off for under $250 for the tail light. When I went to build these tool holders, I thought I had purchased fine threaded set screws from Redneck Supply, and I come to realize that I'd purchased coarse threaded set screws, but these were already threaded. So I started to look around for some fine threaded 5/16 set screws and you know, wherever. They need to be 3/4 inches long is what I figured. And so I looked around everywhere for them, and I was surprised to find them at Home Depot, because normally Home Depot doesn't have any fine threaded anything. And there it was, fine threaded set screws. This was in their online catalog, but all they had in stock was 9. 3 little bags of 3. So I guess you could say I bought out Home Depot as far as their 5/16 3/4 set screws. I guess that's pretty much anyway, that'll finish up the job on these tool holders so that they're the way I planned on them being in the first place. I didn't like the, you know, the cap screws there. So it's hard to do this and talk, so I'll screw those in later. Okay, 3 little packages of 3 screws each turned out just right. I got all the big ugly stuff out and the ones that look right in there. Now I've got a whole screw left over. Isn't that wonderful? But there you go. There's another loose end tied up. This is more an AVE kind of thing, but what the heck, the same day that I busted the tail light, I'm trying to do the hedges, got half done and the switch broke. So I pulled all the screws. I pulled this guy off. There's a screw in each side. Pulled all the screws all the way around, and there's a little cover here. Had to take him off. And I've pulled the screws loose, so here we go. Genuine Ryobi here, and what has gone wrong with the switch? That's what I want to know. Well, I don't see a thing wrong with that stupid switch. I mean, it's like all of them. There's a little switch on the inside here. It's just got the little knob sticking out there, and you just, when this moves out of the way, you can just take it on and off. So what the heck's wrong with my Ryobi then? I'm going to have to put it back together and put the battery on it. Well, not put it all together. I'm going to stick the battery on it and get a meter and see if, you know, if I got juice. I don't know what could have happened to the thing to make it stop, but something definitely died. I'll be back. Alright, so I took this cheap Harbor Freight meter, which basically cost me nothing, and they're not the world's best tools, for sure, but they work, and I confirmed that if I hook in here where the battery hooks in, that, you know, that's a good path that way there, and we're connected on the other side of it. And then I stuck the little probes against the switch here, and this was harder to do because I had to use my finger over here to push this other button, but well, there. Now, when I push the button, it should show continuity there. I'm going to take this little switch off because it's in the way. Alright, so hook onto these 2 places here. One there and one there. Operate the switch. And you can see from the meter, I think you can see the meter. You can or can't, I don't know. Put the meter right here. You can see that. And then I will touch these 2 together. I keep my hand out of the way. You can see the switch is good. So the wiring's good from where the battery hooks onto the switch, and the wiring's good, and the switch itself is good. And so that would say maybe the motor burned out. I'm sure hoping that if I go and look that I find that this thing's in warranty. I bet it's not. This time I need some cup of Joe here to steady me up a little. Alright, so I'm going to do strange and dangerous things, and I'll be back. Obviously I don't know how to read the stuff on the battery. and push the button. I guess that means it's dead. So I'm going to charge it and see if that fixes the problem. Tomorrow's steel challenge, so I gotta clean up for it. This is the only pistol I'm cleaning because it's the one I've been practicing with. But I'm going to take two of them. I'm going to take this one and the Ruger, just in case I have any kind of a malfunction, and that way I'll be guaranteed that whatever goes on, I get to participate. I didn't mean to startle you with that little noise, but I wanted to slide down before I take everything apart here, which is the easy way. This gun just one screw and it's disassembled. Anyway, that's not what I stopped here to talk to you about. I wanted to tell you about Bubba. And let me move the camera where I can look at you in the eye while we're doing this. Anyway, so I got to tell you about, this is not exactly about Bubba, it's about Bubba's grandpa. They call him Pappy, and I think his real name is Bubba the First or something. I don't know, Bubba Senior, not sure. But anyway, Pappy's been in the untaxed alcoholic beverage distribution business for a long time. In fact, he's been in production, bottling, and distribution for quite a while. And he's making better than average means, and he joined up at the country club and got into golf. And you know how golfers are, they'll play in any kind of weather. And some of his customers are scheduled for a Friday, golf foursome, and so his caddy wasn't anywhere to be found. So he went and got Cooter, Bubba's buddy, to caddy for him. And so they're out there on this hole, up near to the highway, and it's kind of drizzling and raining a little bit, but golfers, how dedicated they are. They ain't going to miss their golf for rain or snow or nothing. And so they're out there playing, and this funeral procession starts coming down the road. And Pappy takes off his hat, and he stands there, while the procession goes by. And they get by, he puts his hat back on. And Cooter says, "Well, Pappy," he says, "that's mighty respectful of you." He says, "I didn't know you was that nice a guy." And Pappy says, "Well," he says, "Cooter," he said, "it's the least I could do. I've been married to that woman for 45 years. So I guess I better get back to gun cleaning." Now, y'all just keep on keeping on, and subscribe if you'd like to. It'd be nice, make an old geezer happy. And leave a comment. I really like comments. Okay? Well, bye, y'all. Keep on keeping on.